You have read the charts, set the levels, and promised yourself you will follow the plan. Then the heart speeds up, the hands hover over the mouse, and the plan dissolves. It is not the market force in your hand. It is the surge inside you, the ancient alarm that turns patience into pursuit and caution into panic. Today, we put that alarm under a lens. We will learn how to notice it, interrupt it, and turn it into useful signal. No magic entries, no guru tricks, just practical tools for steadier execution and cleaner decisions. If you want profits that do not vanish the moment pressure arrives, start here, where discipline becomes a habit you can actually train, each day. This is Mind Over Markets, a channel about building stable execution in unstable conditions. We study emotions as signals, design rules that survive pressure, and practice until good decisions feel natural. You will not find holy grails here. You will find simple tools that compound, honest language, and repeatable routines. We focus on process, risk, and identity so your edge is not fragile. If you bring curiosity and patience, we will bring structure and accountability. Together, we turn stress into information and plans into behavior you can trust every day. Your brain evolved for short horizons and clear signals, but markets deliver noise, delay, and probabilistic feedback. When money is at risk, your body raises the alarm. Heart rate climbs, breath shortens, and attention narrows. The systems built for survival push to take control, while the parts that plan, weigh odds, and hold rules go quiet. In that state, you read danger into a normal pullback, chase a move that is already extended, or exit a winner the moment it ticks against you. You add size to feel in control, then cut winners and let losers breathe because relief feels urgent and patience feels unsafe. The market does not punish you on purpose. It simply reflects your actions with indifferent prices and randomness. What harms results is the misfit between ancient biology and modern execution. Without a method to notice, slow, and redirect that surge, your edge dissolves under pressure. Charts and setups matter, yet they are brittle when physiology runs the show. The mismatch is real, but it is trainable. You can build habits that keep your planning brain engaged long enough to follow process, take planned losses, and let statistics, not feelings, drive your next decision with consistency. Emotional hijack is the moment the survival system takes the wheel and your plan becomes background noise. Heartbeat rises, attention narrows, and you read danger into ordinary fluctuation. In that squeeze, you move stops, chase candles, or bail because a tiny pullback feels like collapse. The sabotage is simple. Logic is offline. You cannot access your rules at the second you need them most. The fix begins with detection, a name for the feeling, and a pause before any click. Chasing sensation turns trading into a hunt for relief or excitement rather than a search for asymmetric opportunities. A move appears and the body leans, begging for a hit of action. You click to avoid missing out, then add size to feel certain. Entries come early, exits come late, and risk swells with no plan. The remedy is boring on purpose. Define setups, require 2 reasons, wait for price to come, and accept that no trade is a valid choice today. Poisoned wins are victories that teach the wrong lesson. You break a rule, widen a stop, or average down, and price bails you out. Relief floods in, and brain stores the move as success. Next time pain arrives, you repeat the shortcut with more size and less doubt. The account becomes teacher you should not trust. The cure is to praise process, not lucky outcomes, and to record every broken rule as a red flag even when trade made money. Fight or flight turns a small loss into a crusade. You feel cornered, so you hit back at the market with re-entries, doubled size, or a sequence of impulsive clicks. The aim is not edge, it is relief or revenge. This flips risk from defined to chaotic. Stops vanish, targets blur, and a manageable day becomes a deep hole. The counter is a daily loss limit and a rule to walk away when triggered, followed by a review pause. Confirmation bias filters information so only agreeable evidence gets through. You see what you want to see and mute what challenges your thesis. In practice, that means cherry-picking signals, extending targets, and ignoring invalidation levels. You hold losers because admitting change feels like identity loss. To fight it, write down reasons the idea could fail before entry. Set the invalidation line in advance and require one disconfirming clue to be checked every time price moves in your favor first. Sunk cost attachment ties your present decision to past effort or money that cannot be recovered. You hold a loser because you paid in time, research, and pride, and closing feels like betrayal of that work. The market does not refund history. It only prices the next tick. The fix is mechanical. Decide exit rules in advance, size so a loss is tolerable, and treat each new candle as information that either supports the idea or ends it without drama. Recency weighting gives the last few outcomes too much authority. After a streak of wins, you feel invincible and increase size or loosen rules. After a streak of losses, you freeze, skip valid setups, or micromanage exits the moment price breathes. Both reactions are patternless responses to noise. Combat this by using fixed risk per trade, a written checklist, and periodic performance reviews that look at a sample, so the next decision reflects statistics rather than the feeling yesterday. Fear often dresses up as caution. It says, wait for perfect confirmation, then adds another condition, then another, until the edge has passed. It claims to protect your account, but mainly protects the ego from the sting of being wrong. The cost is missed opportunity and underexposure when your plan prints. The countermove is to define what sufficient means in advance. Act when conditions are met, and grade yourself on rule execution rather than on immediate profit. Emotional chain effects are the links that form when past decisions program present impulses. A win after breaking rules makes you bold next time. A loss after a careful trade makes you wary of valid setups. Each episode leaves a trace that nudges the next choice. Over weeks, the chain steers your behavior without being noticed. You break it by labeling episodes in a journal, praising rule following even when it hurts, and designing gates that force evaluation each entry. Awareness is not the destination. It is the doorway. Naming the surge buys you a moment, but moments need structure. We now turn that pause into a plan. Simple gates, small rules, and repeatable steps that hold under pressure, so your choices track your edge rather than your urges today. What works is simple, testable, and repeatable under stress. You create small guardrails that slow impulses and favor your plan. You define the setup in writing, the invalidation level, and the maximum loss you will accept. You use a pre-trade self-check and a two-step confirmation before any click. You cap the daily drawdown and you stop when it triggers. You size positions so losses are tolerable. You journal emotion and behavior. Then you rehearse these steps until they feel automatic in live conditions across varying market states. Start with relentless awareness. Before any order, run a brief self-scan. Name the loudest feeling in one word. Notice body cues like breath, pulse, and muscle tension. Ask what the feeling wants you to do right now and what your plan asks instead. Write the setup, the invalidation level, and the maximum loss in plain language. Speak them softly to slow the pace. During the trade, note when attention narrows or speed rises. After exit, record the emotion at entry, midpoint, and close, plus one behavior you would repeat and one you would change. This practice builds a map from sensation to action you can trust every single day. Next, interrupt the spiral. When you feel the surge, change posture, stand up, or step back from the screen. Break the loop with a short pattern, 4 slow breaths with longer exhales, and a 10-second reread of the setup. Create friction before action. Require 2 independent reasons to enter, both visible on the chart right now. If one disappears, you pass. Place the stop before the order. Never widen it. If changed, it only gets tighter. Set a daily loss cap that shuts the platform and starts a review. When the cap hits, you are done for the day. You protect process first. This rule prevents spirals and damage. Then reframe and recondition. Treat fear as a data source, not a defect. Ask what risk it points to and whether your plan already covers that risk. Move pride from outcomes to behaviors. Feel good when you honor your stop, when you size correctly, and when you skip a marginal setup. After each session, replay one moment of discipline and one moment of drift. Write a single sentence that pairs each emotion with the skill you want, like turning impatience into a cue to slow and reread. Build tiny rewards for rule following, such as a short break, a stretch, or a quick note of credit. Repetition wires the association. Now, calibrate identity. See yourself as a steward of risk rather than a hunter of wins. Describe your role in clear behavioral terms. I define risk, I place stops, I accept planned losses, I let winners breathe to target. Each time you resist an impulse, call it a vote for that identity. Each time you follow a checklist under pressure, log it as proof. Build rituals that signal who you are becoming, such as reading rules aloud before the open and closing the platform when the daily cap hits. Identity is not a slogan. It is a set of small promises you keep in real time, especially when pressure rises. Practice controlled exposure. Train the skill the way athletes add load. Reduce size to a fraction during fast conditions and rehearse the exact behaviors you want. Hold through tiny pullbacks that match your plan. Count to 10 before reacting and watch the pattern play out. On quiet days, practice passing on near misses so patience strengthens. Create drills outside live risk, such as replaying charts and calling entries and exits aloud while tracking emotion shifts. The aim is not comfort, it is capacity. You want to feel arousal without losing method, to notice tension without changing rules, and to move with steadiness when markets accelerate. Small stakes by real learning. Choose action over rumination. Overthinking feels safe, but it mostly delays commitment until the edge passes. Replace loops of analysis with decision gates. If condition A and B are present, you act. If not, you pass. Prepare orders in advance so execution is a click, not a debate. Accept that planned losses are tuition for keeping your edge. When fear asks for more certainty, you answer with smaller size and faithful execution. When greed asks for more size, you answer with fixed risk and patience to target. You measure success by rule adherence over a sample, not by the outcome of any single trade. This reframes losses as planned information. Support the method with life setup. Sleep enough to think clearly. Eat and move in ways that stabilize energy, not spike it. Reduce background stress so you are not trading to escape another problem. Build a financial buffer so you are not using scared money. Simplify your environment. Clean workspace, quiet alerts, and a short checklist in view. Schedule breaks and a hard stop time. Share your rules with a trading partner for gentle accountability. Your brain is a biological system. It needs fuel, recovery, and rhythm. When the body is stable, self-control costs less. When the day outside is chaotic, you trade smaller or you stand down intentionally. Set expectations that tolerate variance and train patience. Losses are ordinary costs, not verdicts. A string of winners does not make you a genius, and a string of losses does not make you broken. Write the expected frequency of your setup and the average drawdown it can endure. Measure progress in samples, not days. Decide in advance how many valid trades you will take this week and stick to that number. Treat waiting as part of the job. When nothing meets your criteria, sit and observe. When a setup appears, act with normal size and normal stops. Patience is not passive. It is directed restraint in service of edge consistently. Commit to continuous practice. Build a repeatable loop that keeps you honest. Plan, Execute, review, refine, and rest. Then repeat. Keep a simple journal that tracks 3 things: emotion before and during trades, rule adherence, and outcome. Grade the day on process, not profit. Each weekend, study a sample of trades to find one behavior to repeat and one to adjust. Update checklists to reflect those findings. Rehearse your opening routine out loud. Close the loop with a short recovery ritual so tomorrow starts fresh. Improvement is compound interest on small skills. The work is not dramatic. It is steady, humane, and built to last. Show up and repeat daily. Ava trades the open with a tight plan and a calm voice in her head. Price pops, pulls back, and her setup is there. Her chest tightens, and the old urge whispers to chase the first green push. She names the feeling as heat and waits for her signal to complete. She writes entry, stop, and target, then breathes until the chart matches the script. The candle touches her level, and she clicks once. No extra size, no second guess. A small pullback tests her nerves, but the stop stays. She lets the trade work. Target hits, and she logs relief, pride, and 2 notes on process. The win feels clean because the method, not adrenaline, drove every action today. Marco has a rule to wait for a second confirmation before he enters. After 2 small losses, a fresh setup appears, but the fear in his stomach tells him to wait for perfect clarity. He keeps adding conditions and the move runs without him. Frustration rises and he chases late with bigger size, trying to catch what he missed. The entry is sloppy and the stop is nowhere. He feels heat, widens the risk, and hopes for a bounce. Price slips lower and the hole deepens. He closes finally and stares at the chart that followed his plan without him. That night he writes what sufficient means, and he vows to act at the threshold, not after comfort arrives next. Kenji loves speed and used to escalate size after a win. One green morning he feels 10 feet tall and doubles risk on the next trade. A sharp pullback slices him and the day flips red. He steps away, breathes, and opens his small practice plan. For the rest of the session, he trades quarter size with strict stops and a 2-step check. He holds through one tiny pullback that meets his rules and lets the target print. The profit is small, but the recovery feels solid. In review, he grades himself on process, not dollars, and records 3 instances where he paused and chose the plan. The streak is broken. The identity feels different now for him today. We anchor results to who you believe you are when pressure rises. Identity is the quiet script behind every click. If you see yourself as a patient risk manager, your hands wait for criteria. If you see yourself as a hunter of wins, your hands chase. Shift begins with language and proof. Describe your role in behaviors you can do today, then collect evidence by acting that way. Speak in first person, present tense, and tie each line to an action. I keep my stop because I protect capital first. I size so ordinary swings do not break my plan. I act when conditions are sufficient, and I pass when they are not. Speak in first person, present tense, and tie each line to an action. I keep my stop because I protect capital first. I size so ordinary swings do not break my plan. I act when conditions are sufficient, and I pass when they are not. I respect drawdown limits, and I close the platform when they hit. I let winners work, and I do not widen risk. I write what could fail before I enter. I breathe before I click. I review today and choose one behavior to repeat tomorrow. Each kept promise is a vote for the trader I am building. Each resisted impulse is a brick in a stable identity. Myth 1 says discipline means feeling nothing. Reality says emotions stay, but you translate them into risk data and act by plan. Myth 2 says more information cures fear. Reality says action with small risk teaches faster than endless research. Myth 3 says winners never hesitate. Reality says pros pause, breathe, and follow gates. Myth 4 says a good setup should feel comfortable. Reality says edge often feels awkward because it asks you to tolerate uncertainty. Myth 5 says widening a stop buys safety. Reality says moving risk looser buys hope and sells control. Myth 6 says revenge trading wins back respect. Reality says it drains capital and confidence together. Myth 7 says you need perfect confirmation. Reality says you need sufficient conditions and a pre-written exit. Myth 8 says size proves conviction. Reality says fixed risk preserves longevity. Myth 9 says results today define your talent. Reality says samples define skill and process defines growth. Myth 10 says you can think your way out of panic. Reality says you breathe, label, slow, and execute small. Practice turns this reliable. Here is a simple toolkit you can run without thinking when the screens light up. Start with a 5-minute pre-trade self-check. Close your eyes for one breath cycle, then name the loudest feeling in a single word. Say your maximum loss and your stop location out loud. List 3 ways the idea can fail, then state the 2 conditions that must be present for you to act. If both are visible, you enter. If either is missing, you pass. Add automatic friction so impulses must earn their way through. Place the stop before the order, set a fixed risk per trade, and require a 10-second reread of the setup before any click. If the daily loss cap is reached, the platform closes and review begins. Reinforce identity with short lines you can keep. My stop is a promise I keep. I measure myself by process. When fear speaks, I listen for risk information. I size so routine noise does not break the plan. Close the session with a quick review. Name the emotion that most influenced you. Mark whether entries and exits followed rules. Pick one behavior to repeat and one to change tomorrow. Sprinkle micro actions into the day. Stand when your pulse spikes. Count to 10 before moving a stop. Write a sentence after each trade linking what you felt to what you did. Discipline is not a talent test. It is a daily craft you build with small, honest promises kept under pressure. Markets will always surge, stall, and surprise. The variable is how you respond when your body sounds the alarm. You can wait for comfort and chase when it appears, or you can meet discomfort with structure and act at your threshold. That is the edge we train here. When you notice the pulse quicken and the voice that says hurry, that is your cue to slow the breath, reread the plan, and move with intention. When you feel invincible after a win, that is your signal to hold risk steady and let the statistics speak. When a loss stings, that is the moment to protect process and start the review instead of chasing relief. If this message resonates, take 2 steps with me today. First, subscribe to Mind Over Markets so these tools become part of your routine. Second, download the free daily worksheet linked below and run it tomorrow before the open. Then return and tell me one behavior you repeated and one you changed. Your comment helps you commit and helps others learn. We are building a community where steadiness is normal and pressure is teachable. Start now. Build the identity that trades with clarity. Keep showing up. This matters because steady execution under pressure turns random swings into manageable risk, preserves capital, and builds an identity that compounds skill, confidence, and results. Nothing here is financial advice. Trading involves risk. Make your own independent decisions and consult a licensed professional when necessary.